Roman Dolidze takes on Nassourdine Imavov. Folks, we have a really interesting stylistic matchup right here. Two fighters, opposite ends of the spectrum, who are really high level at what they do. Dolidze, fantastic grappler, massive power in the hands. Imavov, very sharp technical striker who can hold his own in the grappling as well. I can't wait to break it down. Folks, welcome back to another episode of the Bloody Water Podcast. My name is Derick G. I am your host, and breaking it down with me, as always, cannot do it without the Santa Fe bomber, the New Mexico native himself. AJ, we have 11 straight Saturdays of UFC fights going down from this point on. How you feel, bro?
Derick, I am excited as ever, brother. I am so ready to be back in this chair breaking things down with you. Like you said, we got a lot of UFC coming up and a lot of really good fights this weekend to break down. I'm very excited, brother.
Folks, a little bit of housekeeping really quickly. We got to do some due diligence. We didn't do a post show over for the last episode that we did. It happens. We're going to be here all year for you guys. The important part was the pre-show. We made you the money. We just missed out on the victory lap right there. Important thing to note, take a look at the scoreboard. The defending champion, 2023 head-to-head champion, is my man AJ right there. You see the shiny gold belts behind him. You see a couple behind me too. That's what we're vying for. That's what we're fighting for. We're trying to put money in your pocket, and whoever puts the most money in your pocket in terms of statistically got the most wins, well, we get a belt, so we win too. So if that's not enough of a reason to subscribe, I don't know what is, but smash the subscribe button. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We love you. We appreciate you. And AJ, come on, bro. Let's not mince any words. Let's jump straight into a TLDR. All right, folks, we got some prop locks, we got some money line, we got all the good stuff. Go run to your local bookie, screenshot the whole nine, and subscribe, because we're going to win you some money. You already know what time it is. But, AJ, on the big screen, let's pop this thing on open. All right, UFC Vegas 85, here's the bet sheet, and you're going to see a lot of overlapping names here. These are what we like to call the Bloody Water Podcast consensus picks, and we love a consensus pick because normally when we're both picking the same, we're normally both right. But we did have to have a shake it up. We cannot give you 6 straight of all of the same. So, AJ, real quick, I want you to just give me a theme of these picks. I'm going to rattle off the names. Give me the theme as always, right? Money Moicano, Randy Brown, Natalia Silva, Mahmoud Muradov, and Gilbert Urbina. What is the theme behind these fighters we're rocking with this weekend for the consensus picks?
Derick, the theme for me this week, man, is comfort zone. When these fighters right here are fighting their type of fight, they're basically unbeatable. They live in that comfort zone, and it looks nice when they're fighting. I don't know, sounds pretty good to me. What about you? Do you have a theme this week?
Neutralization. That's my theme. And my theme is that for a specific reason, man. You look at the matchups. A lot of these fighters can neutralize their opponent at the exact thing that they're good at. If they have a little bit of an edge and they can neutralize their opponent, I like it for the win. So that's what I'm going to call right there. But we got one conflicting pick. And AJ, this is the most important one of all. This is the main event. This is the headliner. Roman Dolidze, Nassourdine Imavov. You have an incredible grappler who has bombs in his hands, as I mentioned before. Then you got Imavov, very sharp striker, can hold his own in the grappling. And honestly, man, if you leave it on the feet, this guy is going to put you in a world of hurt. So with this being said, just give a quick sentence. Why do you like Imavov?
The jab, Derick. I love Imavov for the jab and the distance control. What do you think? Why do you like Dolidze for your pick?
Because this is a game of extremes, right? And while the feet, Nassourdine Imavov is a scary, scary man. If Dolidze can manage to get this man on the ground, it's not going to take very long to get this thing over with. You know what I'm saying? Even with the grappling chops. But we're going to talk about all of that and more. Let's talk to people about the prop locks. This is where the money is made, folks. So, we're looking at a couple of win streaks. This is what we love to see at the Bloody Water Podcast. First win streak of the year for you, AJ. So I'm going to have you go first. It's a little bit of cutoff. Apologies. We're going to go ahead and recap the number. But you like Molly McCann versus Diana Belbitsa. Not to go with the distance. Talk to the people.
Not to go the distance, Derick. I expect this fight, especially with the way Molly McCann fights, to go. Whether you're looking for her to win or lose, I do expect this fight to be finished. It's an exciting one. I think it's the best money out there. If you are Molly McCann better, she has a better one at like plus 230 to finish the fight. But either way, I think the best money is going with the whole fight's going to end in the distance, no matter who wins. What about you, Derick? What's your prop lock?
Awesome, man. I like Luana Carolina Dread right here. I like her money line. She's fighting, Yulia Stoliarenko. And what do we know about Yulia Stoliarenko? If she's going to win, she's going to get it done early. And if she's going to win early, it's probably going to be by armbar. So my thought process, Carolina, aside from getting knee barred by Ariane Lipski, which just went like super viral, right? She doesn't really get submitted, man. She could draw this out to a decision, or best case scenario, she can get the finish on Stoliarenko. So I think there is massive value here at plus 115 for the money line. I hit hit my last 2 props in a row. We're trying to make it 3 straight, baby, to kick off the year. Let's go. All right, that's your prop lock. If you enjoyed what we just did for you right there, place your bets. Drop a comment and let us know that you're rocking with us, and then let's all rejoice on Monday for the post show when we take our victory laps. You know what time it is. All right, folks, now for the main card breakdown. You know what we're here to do. Let's jump straight into it.
Here's to another main card breakdown, courtesy of your hosts, Derick G and AJ.
All right, folks, main card breakdown. We're going to start with the headliner, work our way all the way down to the opening bout of the main card. Let's get into it. AJ, Roman Dolidze, number 8 in the world, takes on Nassourdine Imavov at number 11. This is the middleweight division right here. So, a lot of new life, right? Dricus du Plessis is the champion. We have a roundabout, a carousel, whatever you want to call it, for the championship going up. And these seem to be some guys from the new generation, the next generation, that are looking to stake their claim in that top 5, top 7-ish, in the division. Let's talk numbers straight off the bat. Plus 140, Roman Dolidze, right? Minus 170 comeback for Nassourdine Imavov. The graphics a little jacked up here, folks, but pay that no mind. What's really important is that Dolidze is coming off of a loss to Marvin Vettori. Imavov is coming off of a controversial no contest that it seemed like he was clearly winning against Chris Curtis, right? So it's not like either of these guys are coming off of a win, because Imavov lost the fight before that to Sean Strickland. So is this a fresh slate for these guys? And if so, why do you think Imavov is considered such a heavy favorite? It's not a super heavy, but minus 170. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, that's a good question, Derick, because if you think about it, like especially with the new blood you're talking about, these are 2 kind of freshly slated fighters back in not necessarily a new division, but in a division that's reawoken, right? Mm-hmm. And man, especially for Dolidze, this is one of those ones that can really put you back into the mix. There was a time where Dolidze was kind of on top, really steamrolling people, getting going, and then you took an L to Marvin Vettori. Yeah, he's one of a really good fighter up there, but now the names of those people, the Marvin Vettoris, even the Sean Stricklands, the people that are kind of been there, have started to show that there's little chinks in the armor. And this is a great fight for Dolidze to prove that the guy that just lost to Sean Strickland, well, if I beat him, I'm in the mix, man. I'm shaking things up. I'm going. This is a big fight for Dolidze. But on the same end, Derick, do you think it's as big of a fight for Imavov, or is there just too much to lose and not so much to gain?
No, I think that this is a massive fight for Imavov. Listen, you're behind in the rankings. You're fighting up. You're fighting for a spot to join 8+, right? So that's where he wants to go, especially coming off of that no contest. Chris Curtis, think about him. He's number 13 in the world. This is the biggest opportunity that he has gotten. Last couple of fights, Sean Strickland, so that was big, right? But before that, Joaquin Buckley, Edmund Shabazian, Ian Heinz. It's just, this is the biggest opportunity yet. Now, the problem is it's such a stylistic disadvantage and advantage at the same time that it just makes it really interesting, because like I'm looking at a numbers perspective, right? Roman Dolidze, being a grappler, he could be in a real world of hurt if he cannot get this fight to the ground, which favors Imavov. But at the same token right there, look at the fight between Vettori and Dolidze. What was the common denominator? Vettori's a really good grappler. So you're not going to just push grappling on somebody who can grapple you back, right? It cancels out. Imavov, who does grapple from time to time, is not a grappler, though. You know what I'm saying? So with all of that taken into account, looking at these numbers right here, plus 320 for a Nassourdine Imavov decision. Do you see value in that, or do you see he has to fight for perfect 25 minutes if he wants to accomplish that feat?
Yeah, I really don't see a lot of value in that, especially because of the ability of Roman Dolidze to fight a pressure-style wrestling fight, have Imavov on his back feet, and control that entire thing. That plus 320 doesn't seem that juicy to me. I think if Imavov gets this done, that plus 250 TKO is a lot more likely to happen, especially, like I'm saying, with the jab that Imavov has. If he keeps Dolidze on his back foot, controls the match, controls the range, and really puts the knuckles to him early, I think that's the best shot for Imavov. The question I have for you, Derick, I mean, how does Dolidze fight off the back foot? Because right there, I mean, plus 525, I don't think a lot of the actually bettors for the decision, by the way, I don't think a lot of the bettors are seeing a Dolidze last long in this fight. What do you think?
Yeah, the way that I see it is that Roman Dolidze, if he's going to be relegated to the back foot, if Imavov is just putting it on and pressuring and all that good stuff, then either he's immediately gassed out, because what's going to come when somebody's forward pressuring you? That's when you set up your shots right there, right? He has big power in his hand, big check hooks, and he has big takedowns or clinched up, trips and all that good stuff. So Imavov just has to be careful if he's going to fight a reckless style that way. I have the opposite question for you, and it's if Dolidze is pressuring Imavov the entire fight, but Imavov is doing exactly what you're talking about, popping him with that jab, setting the foundation for that 1-2. His 1-2 is crispy, bro. It's so nasty, right? He's over here causing damage and all that good stuff, but he's getting walked down the whole time, getting taken down. If this does go to points, I know you don't see value there, but if this does go to points, is this a winnable fight for him, fighting off of the back foot, basically being a counter striker?
I think so, Derek, especially in the fact if the striking of Imavov is able to at least show more damage, while you're on the back foot, like you're saying, you're popping the jab, you're hitting the 1-2, you're skirting out to the side, and having Dolidze chase him the entire time. I think it'll look good for the judges, but at that same point, we've seen that exact thing not get scored for that fighter.
That's the thing, man. So this matchup, again, I said it's really interesting because it's two opposite ends of the spectrum who are incredibly talented at what they do. Now, even though Imavov grapples, I still will not call him a grappler because I think it's disrespected Dolidze, who is like a purebred grappler right there. So question is, Dolidze gets Imavov to the ground. Can Imavov get back up?
Man, I'm going to say no, especially if it is early in the fight and he just starts draining that gas tank.
And that right there is the path to victory I see for Dolidze from a decision perspective, man. Rack up that control, work some submission attempts and all that, and try your best not to get tired. Because to me, both of these fighters, I don't have a lot of confidence going past 3 rounds, personally, right? You look at Dolidze, he's a finisher. Dude has had 4 3-round fights in his last 10 fights, or maybe I call that 5, actually. And he's won more than he's lost, right? I think it's like 3-2 or whatever the case may be. But oftentimes when it comes to a decision, it's not looking good. One of the major wins he had via decision, Laureano Staropoli, who was a welterweight who moved to middleweight. So I like Dolidze here for the pick, but transparency, folks, we gave you guys some consensus picks. This is also a competition, so we try to get an edge. I like value-wise, I like Nassourdine Imavov. If he can keep this on the feet, I think that there's going to be a lot of success here. But you do got to give something to Roman Dolidze. So for the flyer, give me the Caucasian Roman Dolidze, plus 140 dog odds right here. I would personally stay away from all of these props. I'm not confident in any of them, but just give us the dog odds and let's just keep it rolling right there. AJ, what do you got?
Man, I'm with you, Derek. This is going to be a very close fight, very exciting. That's why I'm looking forward to it. I'm still going with that plus 250 TKO for Imavov. I don't really like the minus 170. I could see him getting it done, but man, like you said, Dolidze is hard to put away. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens, but that's your main event, folks. Whoever wins this, they're the upper echelon. They're the new generation moving towards the top of the division. So you got to love that. But let's talk about this co-main event, man, because I think, honestly, these are the headliners of this event right here. Money, Moicano, Renato Moicano versus Drew Dober right here. This is a really interesting one, man, because these are two dudes who bring nothing but fireworks to what it is that they do, and they're fighting in the Apex, so it's like, what a waste, right? But we got to have the fight either way, man. Money Moicano, he's coming off of that massive submission victory over Brad Riddell, which, like, bro, let's be honest, man, hasn't aged well because Brad Riddell kind of seemed like he fell off as of late, but you can't knock him. And Drew Dober is a really interesting matchup, I guess I should say, because this dude has bombs in his hands, and we've seen Moicano get beat up before, particularly against somebody smaller than him, kind of. RDA, right? Rafael Dos Anjos, our favorite champion. Shout out, you know what I mean? What do you like about this fight right here in terms of value for the money line, man? Minus 150 Moicano, plus 125 Drew Dober. Are you seeing any juice on the underdog?
I am seeing juice on the underdog, Derek, especially because of the chin that Drew Dober presents. If he's able to avoid the counter strikes, and that's why I really like Moicano right here for this one. He has some wild counter strikes, and he can land them with precision. But if Drew Dober is able to avoid that, stick to his game where he's going to be putting the pressure on, going to try to get this fight, at least, maybe not into the ground, but just controlled up against the fence. If Drew Dober can win this control thing, man, he's gonna be looking good, and I do see a lot of juice for him, especially if the shots of Moicano are just not really tagging Drew Dober. Once you get Drew Dober running and going, man, he is a very confident fighter, and I like him. He just needs to find his groove, get going. But Derek, my big thing right here, man, Moicano, every now and then, he doesn't seem to fight to that exact level. Do you think he's going to be bringing it? Is there enough hype behind this fight in the Apex to get Money Moicano out there? Or are we going to see just a performance from an quote unquote older fighter?
I think that if you look at the strength of schedule Moicano has fought, Drew Dober, while it doesn't have the biggest name, I don't think that skill-wise he matches up with some of the dudes that Moicano has just fought, right? Brad Riddell, he has the wrestling and he has the striking, but got beat up there. Rafael Dos Anjos, Alexander Hernandez, Jai Herbert, Rafael Fiziev, Damir Hadzovic, Korean Zombie, Jose Aldo, bro. Like, I mean, I just literally went through a hit list right there. Drew Dober, what do we like about him? He's going to move forward. I think he's going to start fighting a little more patient because he's found success that way, but he's going to move forward and he's going to look for the big shot. Moicano, on the other hand, I see him counter-striking and I see him looking for taking the back and choking him out. And I think that if you look at Drew Dober, who is kind of one of those guys, I mean, he's got a neck, but uber jacked guy, right? It's going to be hard to submit him. I don't think it's going to be easy. What are the odds? Because plus 175 is the submission prop, and the bookies are actually liking the odds of him getting that done by submission. Like, what do you think is the probability he can actually get that against Dober? Do you think it's realistic?
I don't, Derek. I don't think it at all. But I mean, yeah, Drew Dober is hard to finish, especially on striking and then in the ground game. Like you said, he's got a thick neck. He's got massive traps that are blocking the arms from coming under the chin. This guy's jacked. Moicano has the chops to do it. Don't get me wrong. So I think that's why it's at plus 175. I personally would be a little higher, man, like plus 250, plus 300, somewhere around there, because I give Drew Dober a lot of credit in that fact.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I just think it's going to be an interesting matchup because I do think Dober could also overwhelm Moicano with power. Right, we've seen Moicano kind of get knocked around the cage from time to time. And when you start losing that momentum, things get really interesting. So I think the value play, the easy play is Renato Moicano, smash this money line right here at minus 150, because I think the fight in general, while it is more or less close, I think Moicano just has more tools overall. The big X factor, though, it's just that power. That's the big thing you got to worry about from a Drew Dober. Other thing, too, and this was just in the back of my mind after watching the RDA fight again. RDA is a very particular fighter with a very particular skill set that can mitigate a lot of people's strengths. But if Drew Dober needs to, can he secure the takedown that mitigates the jiu-jitsu of Moicano the way that RDA did?
The caveat you put in there is where it gets tricky, Derek. Can Drew Dober take him down and mitigate that ground game? I don't really think so, especially with the length that Moicano's going to be presenting. Moicano's tricky in there, man.
Yeah. 5'11", 72-inch reach, taller and longer. I'm rocking with Renato Moicano right here. Again, not a lot of juice on these props right here, folks, but I do like that money line, minus 150. AJ, are you in the consensus? Do you like any of these props?
No, I'm with you across the board, Derek. If I had to choose one, I would actually probably go that plus 350 decision just because I respect the finishing inability or ability not to be finished by Drew Dober, but I'm with you. I like the prop, the money line right off the bat.
And I got one better for you guys. If you guys are a little unsure and you wanted to, if you're a little unsure and you want to make some money and you think that this is a fight where Moicano can go ahead and get a decision, rock the over. 1.5 rounds, minus 105 for the over. Come on, that's even money. You throw in a little bit of money, you're gonna make your money back right there. So we're rocking with Renato Moicano, Money Moicano for the co-main event, and we're moving right on along. Rude Boy, Randy Brown versus the Kung Fu Master, Muslim Salikhov. AJ, forgive me if I'm incorrect, and I do think that I am correct here. I think that this is a rebooked fight. I'm pretty sure we already broke this one down last year. Don't remember what happened, but I have a good feeling it was Muslim Salikhov that probably pulled out. You don't have to verify that for me right now. I'll verify it in one moment, but we have a welterweight matchup. And I remember it because we broke it down already. We got a long Randy Brown versus a Muslim Salikhov who's going to be looking to walk him down, throw some spinning attacks, all that good stuff. We love a Randy Brown, but we know there's one thing Randy Brown is very susceptible to, and that's when he keeps those hands low and he starts grooving and vibing. Spinning heel comes across the table and boom, flatlines you. We don't want that, but other than that, I think Randy Brown holds a lot of stylistic advantages. My question is the price too heavy to feel comfortable about a money line for Randy Brown? Minus 240. That's kind of heavy for this matchup right here. I know Salikhov is coming off of the loss to Nicholas Dalby, but that was a heavy wrestling approach right there. What do you think about the price?
Yeah, I do think that is real heavy for Randy Brown at minus 240 for the money line, Derek. Especially because Salikhov, he's dangerous, man. I mean, if he's able to maintain that range, throw in the blitz, and get inside the striking range of Randy Brown, like Randy Brown isn't able to control the distance with his length, man. Muslim Salikhov can do nice things, especially when Randy Brown is trying to exit and get back to that range. And like you said, throw some spin and shit over the top. You can catch him, and man, hands down, Randy Brown is always a dangerous fighter when he's getting in the groove. But, man, it leaves the chin open. It's very, very worrisome. I think this is a lot more of a winnable fight than the odds makers are giving Salikhov.
Absolutely. And let me apologize really quickly to Muslim Salikhov. I said it was probably him that pulled out. After my findings are here, actually, it was Randy Brown who withdrew from the fight. This was going to take place back on December 16th, right? So this is just a couple of weeks rebooked. So you love to see that because it puts you in a position to say, all right, I could still push out one more month for my training camp, whatever the case may be. Fresh in my mind. I was training for them. What does Muslim Salikhov bring to the table that can really make him a viable underdog right here? How does he win this fight? Aside from you catch Randy Brown, that's any MMA fight. Anybody could do that. How does he surpass the length of Randy Brown? Because that's the biggest asset right there.
That's the biggest asset, Derek. The blitz attack and the counters that Muslim Salikhov, I think that's going to be a very pivotal moment for him. If Salikhov is able to, whenever Randy Brown engages, get on the inside, throw some counter shots, or when they're playing the chess game, blitz in and get in without being hurt, man, Salikhov looks good. Yeah, he does look somewhat of a slower fighter. He's probably going to have the speed disadvantage in this fight. But when he can attack, or when he does attack and he knows the timing, man, he is slick and precise. And I really like him for that strike and the range, though. That's what worries me all right here for Randy Brown, man. He's able to control you from the distance and keep just jabs, popping, kicks going. He can stun. He can start having the hands down and do some real damage.
Are you at all concerned about this takedown average right here for Salikhov? 1.31 takedowns averaged per fight. If he can get Randy Brown to the ground, we know Randy Brown's last loss was a submission loss to Jack Della Maddalena. Does that worry you at all?
Not as much, Derek, to be completely honest with you. I mean, I do think if Salikhov wants to get this fight, or I should say needs to get this fight to the ground, he has the chops to do it. But getting to that point with the distance management that Randy Brown presents is going to be a challenge.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. Just because of the length of Randy Brown, again, it's really hard, depending on the type of takedown, to take these tall, long dudes down, man. Let's look at the numbers. 6'3" versus 5'11", right? You look at the reach, 78 inches versus 70 inches. So that's the big obstacle. We could talk about it all day, but path to victory for Muslim Salikhov, man, I don't really feel comfortable in any of these paths to victory other than a knockout. I don't really know if a decision, aside from a grappling heavy approach, I don't know if a decision will work in his favor unless he's able to notably hurt Randy Brown in multiple rounds. Aside from that, Randy Brown, what's the game plan, AJ? Stick and move. I think it's super simple. Be you. Be rude boy. Hit him with the jab. Hit him with some of that good stuff. Don't get hit. Walk home with a pocket full of cash, right?
Easy enough. Well, easily said enough, Derek, because I agree with you. And I think the odds makers do at plus 125 decision. Makes a lot of sense to me, man. Stick and move. It sounds good.
I like it too. Last losses for Randy Brown, Jack Della Maddalena. Then you have to go back about 4 years to Vicente Luque. And then 6 years later, Nico Price, right? So good track record for Randy Brown. Muslim Salikhov, my one big knock on him, I love him as an athlete. I just think he's older, man. And I'm going to go with the younger fighter right here. Give me the rude boy, Randy Brown. And AJ, I do like that juice right there. Plus 125 decision prop. And just a little something extra right here. 2.5 rounds is the over and under. It's minus 160 for the over. So I think that we're definitely in a good spot right there. Shout out. We're going with Randy Brown over Muslim Salikhov. And moving right on along. This is what I'm excited for right here. Number 7, Viviane Araujo versus Natalia Silva, who's the new diamond of the women's flyweight division, it feels like. Number 9, she's a savage. She's sharp. She can grapple. She can strike. And it's very interesting, AJ, because of how unassuming she looks. But you want to know something more interesting? When I saw minus 350 Natalia Silva, I said, let's pump the brakes a little bit. I love that we're building up our star Natalia Silva. But Viviane Araujo is a fighter who has cost me a ton of money betting against her. And she knows how to pull out the win when it counts most. Remember, I'm going to call myself out, AJ. You remember I had a super heavy, probably the biggest, most confident prop lock I've ever put out here on this program. Jennifer Maia on points against Viviane Araujo. I said she'll box her up, she'll avoid the takedown, and if she needs to take her down, she'll take her down herself. Well, Viviane Araujo said, no, none of that. We're taking you down, and we're going to take the veteran approach to this. And she did. And I said, okay, we need to reevaluate. Natalia Silva, a little bit different. She's blitzy, kind of karate-ish. Blitzy, not Taekwondo karate-esque, right? Blitzy, kicks, sharp hands. Araujo sometimes get caught with this, AJ. I know you hate this. Some of this, you know what I mean? Reaching out for the punches, blocking with your face instead of moving your head. Natalia Silva will put her in massive problems there. But I think just in pure strength, I think Viviane Araujo can get her to the ground and potentially keep her there. What do you think?
Absolutely, man. And that if you're an Araujo better for this one, when she's at her best, she is controlling. She's dominating, man. And she has that strength to literally control the entire kind of pressure and power that's going into that wrestling. The thing is, man, Silva is a good wrestler too, though. And like you said, bouncy. And what I like most about that is she's hard to get a hold of, hard to really see where she's going, because either she's striking or she's getting out. And Silva is very, very strong for that. But Araujo, man, you were right, Derick. She's one of the betters that you cannot sleep on at all, because she will just, she's been there for a while. Arguably one of the hardest tests that Natalia Silva is going to be having soon, or going to be fighting. And if Viviane Araujo can maintain on that veteran ability, she has the power to hold people down.
Not arguably, AJ. This is the biggest test by far for Natalia Silva in the UFC, at least, bro. You fought Andrea Lee, Victoria Leonardo. I'm not counting that. You know, that's a win, but I'm not counting that. Jasmine Jasvidicius. Those are the notable names right there. And she took down Jasmine Jasvidicius, who is like a purebred wrestler, man. So I'm like, all right, yeah, you're right. Natalia Silva can grapple. Honestly, man, I'm not worried about the prospect. I'm not worried about her skill set. I'm worried about the price. I think minus 350 is way too heavy of a price to lay on a fighter who is this unproven. So what happens? Araujo pulls the upset. It's like all the value is in Araujo's camp. You get no value for a decision, because we know if Araujo is going to win the fight, it's going to be by a decision, so you get value on that end. But for Silva, minus 135 for decision, unproven, and she's a finisher? Look, like, bro, 8 of her 10 last fights have gone to finish, but minus 135 for a decision. Explain that to me. Do you have anything on that?
Recency bias, Derick. Recency bias. She was an absolute killer running through, like you said. Well, 8 of her last 10 are all finishes. You get Jasmine Jasvidicius. Yeah, it's a hiccup. You get the decision, whatever the case is. And then you go to KGB Lee. I think the props makers right here just think anybody that's above a crust above the rest of the fighters is going to give Natalia Silva problems. And that's why she's going to take it to decision. But I don't agree at all, man. I'm with you right there. I'm a little flabbergasted at minus 350 and also minus 135 for the decision. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me personally.
Now you have to think, man. Let's look at the other options on the table. If we're going with track record, she's a finisher. Plus 425 for the TKO, plus 650 for the submission right here. Viviane Araujo in her last 4 losses in her last 10, right? They're all decision, right? She's not getting finished. No one's finishing her. Can Natalia Silva break onto the scene and just become an absolute star after finishing Viviane Araujo? Is that in the cards?
In the cards, yeah, Derick. I'm not super heavy on it at all. Like I definitely give a lot of respect to Viviane Araujo, especially for doing it as long as she has, with the amount, like you're saying, not basically nobody in her last 10. I mean, they're very literally her 10th fight ago, she got finished, but a long time, Derick, back in 2019. Viviane Araujo is a serious killer. Can Natalia Silva do it? I think the only option or the only path to an actual finish right there, it's going to be early. It's going to be in that blitz. When Viviane Araujo is walking you down, you blitz in on a counter, get to the side, get to a scramble, and get the fight finished. However you get it done, whether it's a submission or a knockout. I'm leaning a little more knockout, but do you see any value right there in that plus 650 submission, Derick?
Well, first, I'm going to correct you real quick, just out of respect to Viviane Araujo. She won that fight. That was a finish. 3rd round knockout. That's how, I mean, come on, respect, right? But nah, man, nah. I can see a knockout just from Araujo, just kind of reaching after a certain point. You're getting tagged. You don't know where it's coming from, because that's what we saw like in the Amanda Hebos fight, right? That's what we saw, Alexa Grasso fight. But they weren't able to finish her. And I don't know if Natalia Silva is going to be that person to finish her. I just think Viviane Araujo is just a tenured vet, man. And she's going to be tough to get out there. So in all realism, right? Natalia Silva, let's rock with the decision right here, at least in my mind, given the track record, women's flyweight as well, over 2.5 smash all day, right? But I feel worried because it's Natalia Silva. So this is one that is a stay away from me just because I don't see value. Now, I'm going to give you who we're rolling with. It's Natalia Silva across the board, right? Like that's what we have. But I would be doing you a disservice to those who are watching this to say confidently smash minus 350 on the unproven Natalia Silva against a tenured vet. I don't believe that. Do you have any of these that you like, or are we just sticking with stay away, but we favor Natalia Silva?
I'm sticking with the stay away, Derek. If I was forced to pick one, I'm going with that TKO at minus 425. But like you said, I don't really see a lot of value there. Not willing to put my, the name behind it. It's going to be a good fight regardless, though.
That's it. All right. And then again, this is to me a showcase bout. This is them, the UFC saying, Viviane Araujo, you're defending your number. You're going to get this new up-and-comer, and let's see if she could pass the test. So gatekeeper status right here, but a good fight nonetheless. Moving right on along. All right, AJ, I'm excited right here. This fight gets me hyped up because I tried to tell people, like, you come in, you watch these fights, you see these two names, and you're like, what am I looking at? Is this the UFC? Did I turn on some, like, random Russian MMA promotion, some Octagon or something? No. Salikhov, Khizriev, apologies for my people back. I probably didn't pronounce that right, but you get the sentiment. Makhmud Muradov, that's the opponent right there. This is a middleweight contest, and this is another budding star who is looking to break onto the scene, who gets a very, very challenging UFC veteran. So let's talk about Khizriev, man. This dude beat up Denis Tululin, right? And looked like a stud doing it. Choked the man out. UFC debut. And we didn't really hear from him after that. It's like, yo, what happened to you? You know what I mean? But what do you get in your second bout in the UFC? You get Makhmud Muradov, bro. You get a dangerous, dangerous UFC veteran who has had a couple of losses. But if you look in the grand scheme of things, man, it's kind of a tough matchup to give somebody who's this new to the UFC, man. Makhmud Muradov is 8-2 in his last 10. Now, Salikhov Khizriev is undefeated, 14-0. So this is one, along with another fight on the prelims that we'll talk about in a minute, where it's like, all right, undefeated guy, tough UFC veteran who is really, really skillful. I, again, don't know if I like minus 275, that heavy of a price on the dude who's got one UFC fight fighting a tenured dude like Muradov. Makhmud Muradov. Apologies. The name is messed up. Don't worry about that. All right, AJ, what do you think about this matchup? What do you think about the price?
No, I agree with you, Derek. I do not like that minus 275 for Khizriev, especially because Muradov arguably has the better skill set and everything that Khizriev has. I mean, we saw it in the 12th fight. Yeah, he knows how to get the fight to the ground, and when he does, he knows how to control you and put that smash style on and finish the fight however he wants to do it. But arguably, man, Muradov has the speed, has this striking ability, and also has that same kind of ground game style where he can control you and he can put it to you. I really like Muradov for this fight, and I guess basically because of recency bias, 14-0, it all sounds great that they have him as that big of a favorite. I personally do not see it. Don't get me wrong, though. I do like Khizriev, but I do think his striking and his head movement needs a little bit of improvement because he got cracked a couple times in that 12 fight.
That's right. And the more important thing to me is exactly what you just said. When you have a fighter, and this is going back to the beginning, right? What's the theme? Neutralization. You have a fighter who is pretty well versed at all the things that you're good at. They go to grapple just the way that you go to grapple. Well, what happens when the other parts of the game get unveiled? When it's just straight striking, right? Who's a better striker through and through? You got to give that to Muradov all day long. It's been proven, right? And when you look at his ability to face an overwhelming grappler, Caio Borralho for an example, right? Yeah, he got smashed by him, but then he was also able to reverse position and then still have the confidence to go straight back into the guard and say, now it's my turn to be top control, right? Now, you did get submitted by GM3 Gerald Mears chart. You got, choked out right there. So it's not a good look in terms of the grappling. But if you look at the overall record, man, dude's fought a lot of really good guys, a lot of name value guys. And the most recent win I thought was super impressive because he broke him straight up. Bam, bam, Brian Barberena, who is a striker who doesn't want to grapple. But Muradov mixed it up and turned it into a real MMA fight. So again, do not like the price for Khizriev, even though I like what he brings to the table. Super skillful, great grappler, solid striker. But let's talk about the path to victory for Muradov right here. Plus 155 is the ticket price for the money line. Now, this was at open, AJ. I'm going to pull up what the live odds are. And if it's anything what I think it is, then this is going to go straight into our value bet right here. Would you look at that? Makhmud Muradov plus 125. So Khizriev is actually a minus 150 favorite now. The line is shrinking, folks. This is our thought process right here. So this is why we say tenured veteran, get him in there, test the undefeated guy, and let's see what he's got. I personally think that a TKO and a decision are both viable plays right here in the camp of Muradov. But then again, his rev, undefeated, dude. You know what I mean? So, like, this dude hasn't been lost, clearly hasn't been clipped bad enough to be defeated in that sense. Which one do you like better, TKO or decision?
I actually like the decision, Derek. I do think with the way that Muradov fights and that kind of not necessarily a completely smash style, but he likes to put the pressure on. He likes to beat you up a little bit. I can see Khizriev staying in the fight, maintaining there. They're going to have some back and forth. It might be a washing machine style of fight. That's why I like the decision at plus 335. Man, both these guys can get it done, but I do think the veteranship of Muradov is going to shine right here.
I think that's a fair take. I like Muradov right here across the board. I think that this is a very, very pure value play. You don't find a lot of them on these kinds of cards. But again, when you start searching and you start seeing, okay, beginning, how come the odds were so crazy when it opened and now they're shrinking heavy? This is an opportunity to still cash in on value on Muradov because he just went from plus 155 to plus 125. So it really didn't shrink that much. Give us Makhmud Muradov. I like just the pure underdog value play again right here. I don't think you need to play around with props when you have something like this. But the last piece that we need to touch on, AJ, is when you're looking at the over and under. 1.5 rounds is the over and under, minus 190 for the over. Do you like that?
I like that, Derek. I mean, obviously, like the plus 125, get on that money line when you can, folks, because there's a lot of value there. But I do see this fight going going to the over.
All right, fair enough. And to open us up, this is a really intriguing one, AJ. I did not expect this to be an opening bout for the main card, but here we are. Urbina, excuse me. Let me say it again. Gilbert Urbina versus Charlie Radtke. There we go. We're just going to keep it pushing right there, AJ. This is an interesting matchup because you got a dude who is he's still unproven in Urbina, but he looks sharp in his last fight. And then you got a dude who nobody knew who smashed onto the scene. Radtke, man. This dude is actually legitimately good. He beat Blood Diamond, and he took a very stereotypical approach to do it. He said, you're a world-class kickboxer. Let's wrestle. Come on. Now, AJ, first question before we talk numbers. What does Charles Radtke do that Gilbert Urbina, doesn't do? And if not, doesn't do better. You know what I mean?
I would say stick to the game plan. I think that's the one thing that Radtke does really, really well, or at least better than Urbina. Urbina can get a little wild in there, man. That's why I like him. I think Urbina's going to be around for quite a long time, but you got to give the respect to Radtke that he stays focused in there. He stays mental and he sticks to his game plan.
Yeah, even when he gets rattled, he's still right there. He's not deviating. He says, all right, we have one clear focus. Let's make it happen. Now, aside from that, I can't name a lot of things that Radtke does that's better than Urbina. Urbina, I think, is a better grappler. I think that Urbina is a better striker, and I think that Urbina, being at his natural weight class of 170 pounds, is going to actually be able to showcase that. He looked rough, man. He took a 10-day notice against Brian Battle, who turned out to be an absolute stud for the Ultimate Fighter Championship right there, right? Up a weight class at 185. You're in your true weight class. Now you open up as a minus 210 favorite, plus 175 comeback for Charlie Radtke. And let's look at the live odds now. Minus 210 plus 175 had not shifted a bit, AJ. So the odds makers, they like Urbina. If he's going to get this done, does he even need to get this fight to the ground? Is it wise to try to even get this fight to the ground, or does he just keep it on the feet and just try to overwhelm him?
Well, I definitely think the smartest idea is keeping this on the feet, overwhelm him, hurt him, get in the ground, get the finish. Just classic ground and pound, beat him up, get him out of there quick. But I do think there's a little bit of Urbina that wants to see what Radtke actually brings. You know what I'm saying? Like when the fight gets to the ground, I don't see Urbina wanting to instantly get up. I see him engaging in this and making it kind of a not a dirty fight, how people would describe it, but like a gritty style of fight. Man, I like Urbina a lot. I'm glad he's opening up this card, man.
And honestly, he has the tools too. Look at his last fight, Orion Kosi, right? Fantastic grappler, not a great gas tank, but also because Urbina strategically started attacking that breadbasket, man. Started getting after him and started just wearing on the tank. Through and through, Gilbert Urbina, I think that he's the play here. Minus 210, I think this is actually a fair price to pay right here. Urbina, it's not like he's unproven per se. The question is, can we find a little bit of value in these props right here? So while we take a look at these main props, I'm going to bring up the over and under. We have 2.5 rounds, plus 100 for the over, which tells me the odds makers really think that someone's going to get finished here. If a finish does take place, what do we like? TKO, submission?
I like the plus 240 TKO, Derek, especially the ground and pound finish. I think that's going to be the most likely outcome right here. That is interesting. The 2.5 is the over, but still the plus 250 decision is still a thing. I do think it can happen, but I think Urbina is going to finish this fight.
And I think it depends on how tough is Charlie Radtke. And if he just goes to pure instinct, I have to get you to the ground mode, does he take away from some of that offensive Urbina? Do we see a drag him out? All right, I'm going to be top control, you're top control, and now we're just kind of sticking him up that fight to get past that 2.5 rounds? Because I really like the TKO prop right here. I think Urbina has the skill set, and I'm going to go out on a limb. Give me the plus 240 TKO, Gilbert Urbina. Small. We're talking half a unit right here. We're not talking about full units. And then, yeah, if you're not happy with that, then just stick with that money line, Gilbert Urbina. Throw him in a parlay. I think this is a fair price to pay. Anything else on this?
No, I agree with you, Derek. A very fair price to pay for Urbina. Like I said, I think he's going to be around a long time. Get used to seeing him as the favorite. But if you are looking for full juice, I like that plus 240.
All right, fair play. Well, folks, that is your UFC Vegas 85 main card breakdown. Now to the most coveted aspect of this program, the sleeper section, where the unknowns of today become the stars of tomorrow. The Salikhov Khizrievs, the Natalia Silvas. This is when there are household commodities, but we told you about it first, folks. So be the one that's the cool guy in your friend group, letting them know about all this good stuff. Let's jump into some sleepers, AJ.
It's time for some fight night.
And if you ain't paying attention, you're gonna sleep on me and I'm gonna wake you up.
All right, folks, it's the sleepers, the golden voice of the Bloody Water Podcast sleeper section, the king. That's all we got to say right there. We're going to leave the rest unknown. He set the table for you guys. Keep sleeping on these people. They are going to wake you up one way or another. AJ, well, this is the 60-second bar pitch to let the people know this is why you need to watch this fight. It's free. It's on the prelims. It's all going to be free. This isn't a pay-per-view, but nonetheless, I'm going to take a twist of fate right here. AJ, I would like to start first, if you do not mind. Let me set the table right here, folks. I got a good one. So, up on the big screen, you see it, Markel Medeiros versus Landon Quinones. Now, this is a very, very interesting matchup right here, and all that you need to know about this, folks, is that you have two very young, promising fighters with a lot of finishes on their record who are looking to meet in the center of the cage and absolutely bring it. If I do a quick scroll here on what they have here, you look at this. Knockouts, decisions, knockouts across the board. Yeah, you got a loss right here. Knockouts across the board. That's all that I got to say. I don't need to explain anything else here in regards to why you need to watch this matchup, but you have two dudes who are in this budding division right here who are looking to bring it, man. Look at this. Fantastic. A lot of knockouts. People are picking it. I like Landon Quinones, but Markel Medeiros, he's going to be sharp coming off of the Contender Series. That's what I got for my sleeper. Go check it out. Let us know what you thought. Once it's going to be banger, probably going to be a performance of the night award right there. But AJ, on to your sleeper. You got a fun one right here. I really like this one, man. Talk to the people. What you got?
Folks, you want to talk about a sleeper? This is the epitome of it, man. Both fighters right here made their way up, man. Whether it's the Contender Series or the road to the UFC, we got Blake Builder versus Zhang Yong Lee. Sorry if I butchered it, brother, but you got to be fighting a little bit more to get your name known, and this is the section to get it done, man. Both of these fighters are finishers, whether you want submissions, whether you want TKOs, they can both get it done. And why I like this as a sleeper right here, folks, they both like to bring the action. They both like to bring the entertainment. They're going to meet in the middle, get to the get-in, and it's going to be a great time. Make sure you pay attention.
Banger alert right there, folks. Check it out. And one last thing that we got to jump to now that we've hit you with the sleepers, some of those good ones, is a quick prelim pour over. So what this means is we're just going to jump into let me see. Yeah, I got the UFC screen. We're going to do the UFC screen this time here, AJ. Let me pull it up on the big screen, baby. Let's go. All right, that's the main card. We talked about that. We talked about Molly McCann, Diana Belbitsa. This is an interesting one right here. Azat Maksum versus Energy Charles Johnson. What did I say? You got an undefeated guy, then you got a UFC vet, and this is a dude who's already got a win against a Kazakhstanian, a dude who is known to hit the upset when possible. AJ, minus 192. That's a little more realistic for an undefeated guy who isn't really as proven as the UFC vet himself, Charles Johnson. What do you think about this matchup?
No, I think that's a very fair price for Maxim, especially the Energy. No disrespect, and this dude's an absolute gangster, but he does falter a little bit, and this seems to be the nice level for Maxim to come in and actually make an impact on the UFC.
That's it right there, man. This is a really interesting one because we know what's going to be the game plan. It's going to be very simple. Get him to the ground, keep him there. Normally, that's how it goes. 2 takedowns averaged per fight. We know what the game plan is, but it's flyweight. And at flyweight, it is hard to hold those guys down, but that's definitely one to watch out. AJ, I'd be lying to you if I didn't tell you that I have been fixating on this matchup right here all week long. Like, I've been staring at it, and something keeps popping out to me. Themba Gorimbo, right? This dude is good. Zimbabwe grappler right here. Like, he knows how to get the fight to the mat, knows how to keep it there, and he's long. Major reach advantage on a lot of these guys. Lanky knows how to use his tools. But this guy, Pete Rodriguez, bro, he's in your face, and he's ready to get him. And what did he do in his last fight right here? Let me see. Does it show what the last couple of wins are? Nah, it doesn't show it. But whoever he fought in his last fight, I remember I just rewatched the tape, and this fool just put, it was Mike Jackson. He put it on him, bro. He just walked him down, hit him with the big shots, hit him with the follow-up knee. It was nasty. Now, was he on the wrong end of the spectrum against Jack Della Maddalena? Yeah, but that's not who we're talking about right here. AJ, am I crazy? Why do I keep paying attention to this matchup right here? Why do I think that Pete Rodriguez is going to walk him down and knock him out? What do you think?
You're not crazy at all, Derick. I'm happy you brought this one up, because if you didn't, I was going to make sure we did. Pete Rodriguez is an absolute house in there. That's why you're expecting him to walk people down and beat them up, because that's what he likes to do, and that's what he's good at. But Themba Gorimbo, at that same point, he has the power to be able to nullify that strength. We'll see if the grappler can get it done, man, but I really like Pete Rodriguez in this fight.
I really do too, man. It's just a matter of if Gorimbo can hold him on the ground, then we know how this fight is going to play out, man. But if you cannot weather the storm in that first round against Pete Rodriguez, we are seeing a major upset, plus 200 with a knockout. You love that one. Folks, I'm going to circle back. Prop lock, Luana Carolina over Yulia Stoliarenko. I really like that one. I told you guys the price. I told you guys the lock. Rewind the video if you have not seen it already. We hit Landon Quinones. Sorry. All right, bro. Thomas Peterson versus Jamal Pogues, man. This is one that I thought was really interesting because look at this, AJ. Look at the record. 1-0. 1-0. That's not true. It's not really true. It's kind of a fabricated one. If I pull up Tapology and you look at them, you see 8-1. So I'm not sure what the UFC is trying to do. They're trying to just, I don't know how they're trying to promote the man. 8-1, a lot of knockouts, a lot of finishes, a lot of first round, second round, stuff like that, right? But when we're taking a look here, Jamal Pogues is an underdog, man. And where'd the ticket price go? They didn't even have it right here. I have the number right here. Apologies. Here we go. You guys can't see this, but I can. Sorry. -170 Thomas Peterson, +140 comeback for Jamal Pogues, man. I really like Pogues, and I like Pogues for a decision. Now, not in this matchup, but in general. I think he's one of those heavyweight decision guys. Kind of like a Mick Parsons, kind of like a there's another guy that is a decision guy that I just can't remember off the top of my head. But the point is, what do you think? Unknown Thomas Peterson, lots of finishes. Jamal Pogues. Anything on this?
Man, I actually really like Jamal Pogues in this fight specifically because he's going to be the bigger guy. Like he looks a little bit more to be the more natural 265er. Don't get me wrong. Thomas Peterson, he's a big boy himself. He can get it done. Man, he has a lot of finishes. But it's an interesting fight because of the unknowns. And we've seen Jamal Pogues suffer a little bit in there, especially with gas tank issues and other things that are going on. So I can see why Pogues is the underdog here. I kind of like him, though, for this fight, Derick.
Yeah, I kind of like him. It's hard to put into words, but it's a heavyweight matchup. And if this goes over 1.5 rounds, which is probably predicted to do, be in a good spot. But folks, that's pretty much everything that we got for you. We just hit all of the good stuff. So with that being said, we made it to another outro. UFC Vegas 85. Folks, I know that this doesn't matter, but this matters to me. This is episode 265. This is the heavyweight episode here at the Bloody Water Podcast. Just like that. Think about it. 2 episodes a week over the span of I don't know how many years, and we're already at 265 episodes. Listen, if you guys weren't tapped in, if you weren't showing us love, this thing wouldn't exist. We love you. We appreciate you. But we have an ask. Or no, maybe I should clarify. I have an ask. So I'm going to solo. My ask to you is that if you win money, if you enjoy this content, if you get a laugh out of this or whatever the case may be, subscribe. But more important, tell a friend to tell a friend. This is your favorite fighter's favorite fight show, and you would be doing them a disservice being a bad friend if you didn't let them know. Now, I know I had to turn heel there, but I know my man AJ, he's a little more demanding. He doesn't ask, he takes right there. So AJ, talk to the people, tell them what you need.
We're taking, folks, like Derick said, man, we're out here winning you money week in and week out. Nobody does it better than us, and it's about time the world gets to see it. So you mean to make sure you share it with your friends. Be a good friend. Win them some money and then point them right back to us, because you know we got gold belts behind us and more to come. Make sure you're subscribed as always. It's going to be a fun weekend, and always hit the comments and let us know. I know you're winning money out there. Don't hide it. Don't be a bad person. Share it with your friends, because I know we're winning money. So if we're winning money, y'all are winning money, and that's why we like it. Like Derick said, we love and appreciate every one of you. Make sure you subscribe, folks.
All right, I couldn't have said it better myself. That's it for us. Catch us on Monday for the UFC Vegas 85 post show, and stay safe out there, folks. Catch you on the flip side. Peace.